Good afternoon. We are happy to share with you the GED Works overview as part of the 2024 California Summer of Convenings. I'm happy that I am here with you. I am Debbie Fawcett, Senior Director, GED Testing Service, and I have two of my colleagues who also are sharing responsibilities as state relationship managers in California. I have Lisa Poole Osorio and Jonna Forsyth. Today's discussion will be about what is GED Works. GED Works benefits and outcomes will be explained to you. We also will have a review of participating employers and in programs for GED Works. And we're going to share another one of our innovative programs that came to us as a result of GED Works, and that is GED Plus. So what is GED Works? Well, GED Works was originally designed as an innovative solution that allowed employers to support the educational attainment of their employees who lacked a high school credential. It is an all-in-one solution for employees or members that's made available by participating employers and Medicaid insurance providers. Medicaid providers are able to include GED Works as a supplemental benefit due to the impact education attainment has on overall health and wellness. So what we have designed is something that has saved many of our employers money down the line because it's far better. There are many companies who hire students and employees who have not earned a high school credential. The opportunity to upskill them, get them in a high school credential, and moving forward is a benefit for the employee and the employer. That's what GED Works is about. There is a synergy between adult education and GED Works. When we first started the program, people were concerned in adult education that there was a competition between education over there through the employers and what we were doing in adult education. Our years with this program have proven that there is a beneficial relationship, and we have lots of experience in showing you evidence of the two working very well together. For example, during account setup, students are asked if they are employed, and if so, they are prompted to enter their employer. If they are employed by a GED Works participating employer, they are referred to the employer for approval. If that employer approves the student as a part of their GED Works cadre of students and employees, that student is going to reap some additional benefits. Students are also asked if they would like help preparing for the GED test. When the answer is yes, they are prompted to select a program from our site locator. Please note that we are always working to drive anyone who comes to our website to a local adult ed program, and this is one of the ways. GED Works students have an advisor, not a teacher, but an advisor, mentor, or coach who will refer them to local programs for additional prep support. Another indication of how we move every student toward your programs. Your students can take advantage of your classes and free prep and testing provided by their employer through GED Works. So that's the additional benefit to students. Your students can be in your class, but because they are working for one of these employers, they will have additional resources, and that supports you moving them through their spectrum and on their way to earn their credential. GED Works as a recruitment and retention tool. Employers who invest in closing the education gap see a cost savings, They see improved retention by keeping these employees as they can move up the ladder of advancement. They have a stronger pipeline of workers ready for that advancement. And there are recruitment opportunities. It is a great recruitment tool. For example, I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I drive through the local Taco Bell here, and you'll see them as one of our employer partners. I love it when I read that on the window. Interested in work? We can help you earn your GED. They participate in the program. That catches people's eyes. GED Works, the education component, certainly improves lives. There's access to jobs and education that has a proven effect on overall well-being. People whose education level is higher have better health, higher income, and just generational impact on the importance of education. Here are a list of the GED learner benefits. There's one-on-one guidance from a bilingual advisor. Those are our coaches, our mentors, our advisors. Learning style assessment. Top-rated study materials are provided in either English or Spanish. Here is an important part. Even if they're your students, they have an unlimited GED-ready practice and GED test access. No payments. They have expert tutors to push them along, help them understand when perhaps it might be a good idea to step in a program you appear not to have worked in the program, let's say, for example, in a couple of weeks. If you're blocked, maybe going to the local adult ed program will help you. There is also a test pass guarantee. Tie that in that we're going to let them take as many practice tests and as many exams as they need to pass for free. There is a private online community support group on Facebook, and it's a very active group, and they really do like talking to their friends to support one another. Students have the ability to earn college-ready credits where they are recognized, so that depends upon your state. And they would earn a badge from Credly that shows that they have earned their GED. So we have a lot of benefits for the learner, and you as the educators are an important part of that. So how does it work? How it works is this. Once a student is enrolled in GED Works, the student is connected to a GED advisor. The GED advisor is a mentor or guide through the program, assigning appropriate curriculum, maintaining communication to keep students engaged, and reassessing next steps as students progress. GED Works has a prescribed approach to study and testing. All students begin studying with science. Why do we select science? Because our data tells us that the science exam has the highest pass rate. The continuum that we work with students on, they begin with science, then we move to social studies. They study for social studies and pass that test. Then we move to RLA. Then the last test, the one they fear the most, is math. We do it in that continuum because by the time they get to math, whatever their apprehension is about math, not a problem. They already have 3 successful passing tests and grades under their belt. They can tackle the math. The outcomes from GED Works program over the years, as I have said on another note, we have over 7,000 graduates since GED Works began. 40% are more likely to pass the GED test than students who study independently. All of this data, ladies and gentlemen, is gleaned from our robust data system, GED Analytics. We can look at the passing rate of those students who indicate that they studied independently. We know those who go into the classroom, and we know we have a higher pass rate with that. But for those that are not going into the adult ed classroom, comparing them to the independent studiers, through GED Works, they're 40% more likely to pass. One longtime employer reported that they saw 11 times more employees credential through GED Works than their previous GED reimbursement program that they were using, opportunities and enhancements in other types of programs. So we know that it works, and we even have an employer who can tell us it was 11 times more successful than their previous attempts at maybe, reimbursing them and so forth. 76% of participants are grateful their employers offer GED Works and agree that the program has helped their career. We do have a growing list of participating employers and Medicaid providers. Because I know many of you may be listening and have accessibility needs, I'm going to call just a few of them out. And these are ones that are very happy and proud to be listed. We have many that are proud and happy with the results, but for one reason or another, we cannot put almost 100 of them on this slide. Some of our key employers are Amazon, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, Starbucks, The Cheesecake Factory, Murphy Oil USA, Carhartt, Owens Corning, Verizon, Boeing, Brinker International, and that is a food and beverage group that has a number of restaurants, Hudson News, we all see them when we go through the airport, United Healthcare on the Medicaid providers. These are the Medicaid providers that see the benefit for their clients to improve their education, to improve their health and employment outcomes. United Healthcare, Johns Hopkins University, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. GED Works partners in California, I thought you'd like to see and narrow that down. The Yum brands, which are Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Taco Bell. Again, the Cheesecake Factory, Brinker, Amazon, Chili's, Maggiano's, the restaurant, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of California. Most of those are in the Los Angeles and San Diego areas for Blue Cross Blue Shield in the Medicaid group. How GED Works led, I told you earlier, to the GED Plus program. There were many GED learners who were attempting to study or prepare on their own, and they were confused about where to start and what materials to buy, often seeking advice through our customer service teams. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the kind of advice our customer service teams would provide. We want them to be talking with you or other learners, but there was a need for us to provide some guidance. So our internal team, those of our educators and our assessment team and our products team, took a look at the different materials that were available. So you've got this group of people trying to study on their own, and they're confused, and they're calling us saying, we see all these products, which ones should we look at? We also have employee participants who perhaps were in the GED Works program, but left their jobs with GED Works employers and were looking for the same sort of solution. I moved from the job where they were paying for it. Now I'm having to go independently. Help me figure out the solution I need for study materials. We had those two groups. So GED Plus was launched a year into the pandemic. That's when we really saw the cries for help, when you all were not able to open your doors to them. GED Plus launched a year into the pandemic, and it includes all the same learner benefits as GED Works, including a test pass guarantee, which means retakes are included. GED Plus is paid by the learner or the advocate or family member instead of an employer or Medicaid provider. So there is the difference. GED Works is paid for by the employers. GED Plus is a bundling of services that independent learners can go online on our website and purchase. So in summary, we've shared our most recent innovations and enhancements. We did take a deep dive into GED Works and the possibilities it offers students in your classroom, and we continue to focus on what's best for the learner in all of our decisions. Everything we have discussed with you today is bound by the first question we ask ourselves in any meeting is this good for the learner? Because if it's good for the learner, we know it's something that's good for the educators to use and work with them. Also, you will see, again, I wanted to make sure you understand our company's motto. Pearson adopted the interrobang, which is a type of punctuation mark not often used anymore, but was heavily used in the 60s to emphasize the company's motto of always learning. That's because the interrobang is a combination of the question mark and the exclamation mark. So it is an excitement or surprise and a questioning of things that excite us. And that's how we view everything that we look at to create at GED Testing Service for the learner. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say thank you for taking the time to listen to what we have to share with you. We do want to stay connected, and the easiest way that you don't really have to write something down or remember to communicate with GED Testing Service is to send an email to this address, help@ged.com. When they see it is coming from California, it will be immediately routed to me, Lisa, or Jana for a reply. And in the note-taking guide, you will find all of our email and telephone information. Thank you for being with us in the community of GED Testing Service. We look forward to serving you and the adult learners for years to come. Goodbye.